Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and well, I guess if you're not a lady or a gentleman, if you're of the kind of lower class, if you're a bum, if you're a loser like me, then you're still welcome to watch this game. This is the losers match of Group D of the ClubDay MSL, taking place approximately on October 11th, 2008, I believe. Anyway, this is Much versus Backho. A bit of a surprise seeing Much in the losers match. He got thoroughly trounced by Firebathero, although, it could be blamed on the map a little bit, but Much took a big risk, went for a 14 Nexus build, and paid for it very dearly by having a long, drawn-out disadvantage for the rest of that game. Backho just got completely out-microed. Well, I won't say completely. He actually got barely out-microed by Bisu in his match, and ended up losing in the long term, though. But point being, showing a little bit inferior micro. I think if it comes down to a micro game, Much is still going to take the advantage, just as Bisu did over Backho. But, again, like I said before, Backho has surprised me in the past, so I won't completely count him out. Although I will still mostly count him out, since, I don't know, people get on me for making fun of programmers, but seriously, I mean, look at their records and look at who they beat and who they don't. And Backho just hasn't accomplished very much, so, I'm not going to give him too much respect until he does. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Backho either, to be honest. I think he's a little bit of a tool. His name implies the same. But I think that Much has got to be out for blood this game, guys. I think that he's going to do whatever is in his power to make it to at least the final match, and I'm sure that if he had the chance to see Firebathero again later in this MSL grouping, or another MSL grouping, he would love to. He would jump at that chance, because, and I'm sure he'd be well prepared for the match as well. Much is no slouch, and really the fact that he lost, and somewhat embarrassingly too, I might add, with the Defense Matrix Dragoon at the end, I think that he's going to put his all into this game, and Backho, I think he's in trouble, guys. I don't know if he's going to get out of this alive.
Yeah, I mean, Backho certainly gets himself into late in the tournaments. Last season in the GOM TV Intel Classic, he got himself really late. He got himself into the round of 8 of the OSL, only to get completely trounced. And the same thing in the OSL round of 16 this year. So anyway, though, Backho, by the way, once again, is the yellow player at the 7 o'clock, and Much is the red player at the 1 o'clock location. This is on Return of the King. No, this is on Byzantium II once again. What am I saying? Return of the King. Byzantium II once again, same map as last time. I think this is going to make for a really interesting Protoss versus Protoss game here, because we could be seeing possibly a more of a macro game, possibly a fast expand. Although, given Backho's build in Game 2, I think he does prefer to go for that one base strategy too. The only reason why I say it's a little bit better for a macro game is because that natural expansion is so easy to hold, and if you can just get a couple of Dragoons, there's that narrow choke, and there's no other way of really getting to it other than by the air. Backho's gonna, fail in trying to block the scouting probe of Much. Much is gonna go in and see that Backho has gone for the standard gateway core, and Much looks like he might be able to get a Dragoon out before the scouting probe gets in. Much going for an early Citadel, so Much is probably going to go for a DT rush or a DT drop here, most likely a DT rush from Much. We haven't seen this in a while, and I'm happy to see this. I like to see Dark Templar first. Bisu used to do that, actually, a lot back in the day, and a lot of Protosses have, most Protosses haven't been doing that recently, but we're going to see how this works out, though. Maybe this will surprise Backho, and he'll lose then.
Well, there's a reason why Bisu stopped doing it, is because he kept losing every single time, because everyone would go fast observers against him. Seriously, he kept going DT rush every single game, and everyone, I mean, it's just the standard play. Oh, a Citadel going down for
2 Citadels!
Oh my gosh,
nice.
This might turn out beautifully for Much, because Much is going to have his DTs out earlier. The standard build for Protoss is to go for observers
fast
quickly,
observers,
just in case something like this happens, and then you can scout as well. So that's why the DT rush doesn't usually work. But the fact that Backho is going for another sort of a DT rush, I guess he may be thinking of some kind of a speed lot rush, but probably DTs also means that he's not going to have the Robo, he's not going to have the Observatory. Much is going to have DTs in his base, right? Probably when Backho's Templar Archives is just warping in. he's going to get completely caught off guard here, and Much is probably going to be able to wreak some havoc on Backho's base. And in the meantime, he's going to spot the Templar Archives. And, well, let's see. Actually, you know, it's a long distance, so Much might not even get there in time. So Much is probably going to have some defending to do as well. But, I mean, he's getting the jump on Backho, and Backho is not going to have anything to deal with this right now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the name of the game right now. I mean, Much basically got his entire Templar Archives warped in before the Citadel was even warped in for Backho. And I agree that, you know, the advantage is kind of skewed, but the thing to keep in mind is, you know, a lot of times in like a Zerg vs. Zerg, for instance, you got Muta versus Muta, and whoever pops them out first, not that big of a deal because the other person, by the time they get to the other side of the map, the other person is popping their Muta out too. But in this case, you don't have observers. So the fact that Much is going to be over there so much sooner with the DT, who, by the way, he fast expanded too, which is crazy of him to do. But by the time he gets over there, you know, he's going to be in his base well before any DTs pop out for Backho. But Backho, he seems to know this is coming, and he's actually blocking his ramp. And I'm not sure how he managed to think of this, because right now I can't see how he would have known the DT was coming. I don't think he got any observers in there. And now he's going to lose a Dragoon, and oh, DT's out in his own. And if he can block the ramp with his DTs, he's going to be all set to handle. And he does. He blocks the ramp with the DTs. The invisible wall. Amazing job by Backho, actually. Holy crap, I can't believe he blocked it. And Much taking on the same exact thing, but Much has a fast expansion, which isn't going to be able to survive against this if he doesn't get some sight up very soon.
Well, the thing is, actually, no. Well, Backho was not going to win with this because Backho's only 2 DTs are actually busy creating the invisible wall, as you say, and now he's going to try to maneuver one of them out. Looks like he's going to get one of them... It's stuck.
The DT blocks both ways. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. This is definitely a Pimpus play, and it is funny that it's coming from Backho, but it is, no matter what happens, this was a very smart idea from Backho to do, and looks like Much knows it, too. His DT is not moving anywhere. I think it's a complete traffic jam there at Backho's main base. I wonder if either player is going for detection. Okay, there's the robotics facility. Much might be forced into going for a cannon or two. No, it looks like he's actually gone for the robotics facility also. So neither player managing to do anything with the DTs. Much has managed to put down his neck.
That's awesome.
So it's going to be conventional warfare from here on, but Much has the advantage of the extra Nexus, so I think Much is still in the lead despite Backho's admittedly very creative use of his DTs right there.
Yeah, but that totally backfired.
Yeah, that's just amazing, and I think it was probably a good move actually for him to go for the fast expansion, because you can use the Dark Templars to cover, to keep the opponent back in their base to while you expand. Usually, it's funny, I actually did see I think it was a Pimpos play once, where a player had a situation exactly like this, and they put 3 Dark Templar and they morphed the 2 on the edges into an Archon, and that forced the 3rd Templar through the Dark Templar block. I'm not sure if that would work in this instance, but Backho not choosing to do something creative like this. Much now has his expansion going, you know, way up and going. He's putting out more gateways here, and he's going to have observers up and cannons up. So I think Much is basically taking this game now, because he's just going to be able to completely out-macro Backho at this point. Backho's going to try and ferry some troops out now, but I think it's too late. It's basically, I mean, it's 2 base versus 1. Much is going to be able to put out twice as many troops as Backho, and that's pretty much all there is to it in the long run.
Yeah, I think Backho actually had an option of using probes too to kind of force the DT out, because he had units outside the base, and he could have done a little bit of a probe drill, gotten his units out. Now he's finally going to break that 1 DT contain, and I mean, he is going to get that DT, it looks like, but too little too late, man. If he's got DTs in that shuttle, he may have a chance, but no, a cannon going down now, and if as long as Much can put up a nice probe block around that cannon, he's got nothing to worry about. And Much actually seems to know this is coming, and well prepared. He's got Dragoons on the edge ready to take out that shuttle. DT's dropping, but he's got observers, so at this point, this is going to be a miserable attempt at harassment that's not going to go anywhere. 1 probe taken out, that's it.
Oh, this is absolutely terrible for Backho. Just too little too late here with his DTs. And you're right, I think that amazing little block there with the DT, with Much's DT, was actually kind of the Pimpus play too. because, Much managed to prevent Backho from moving out when he had the chance to. And looks like Backho is going to go all in here. He's going to run it against 3 cannons, though, in addition to the rest of Much's force. And I don't think Backho's going to break through. Backho,
GG!
Yo coming from Backho. So ZZ Yo has been quite commonly seen recently. Backho has lost 0-2 in this series, and unfortunately for him, the DT block, I guess he needed the DT block because otherwise his base would have gotten screwed, but maybe if he had actually not blocked it, then he would have the same number of DT streaming to Much's base. There's no way of knowing what would have happened, but certainly it ended up being much in Much's favor to have that DT wall there on Backho's ramp. And now Much will go on to face Bisu in the final match. Pretty much not much to say. I think that one little move was what decided the game, since both players went for that very unorthodox DT rush opening. And the reason why, by the way, I say I'd like to see DT rush more isn't because it's a great strategy necessarily. It's just because we've been seeing it so little in PvP recently that sometimes you think that players would just not go fast observers or not go for observers at all, in the early game because they don't expect a DT rush, and hence DT rush could work out.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing on that ramp. Yeah, and then then that kind of brings up the other possibilities of if they get spotted that they're going for observers, then you can also go for reavers, and it's an interesting set of options you have there. So, I mean, you have to include the DT rush every once in a while, just to keep your opponent guessing too, and make them go observers instead of reavers early and that sort of thing. So you're right. It probably should be seen a little bit more often, but if you're doing it every single time and everyone's just going observers and killing you, then that's when it becomes a problem. But yeah, that was pretty crazy, and it was really cool how it worked out. The timing worked out that Much was ahead of Backho and his Dark Templars at just the perfect amount, that his Dark Templar was coming down the ramp at the exact time that Backho's were going up the ramp. That was just beautiful. And I was amazed that single Dark Templar managed to block all troops from going up past him as well. I wonder if even a Zealot could have gone through, but he couldn't move his Dark Templars to let a Zealot go through, because then Much's Dark Templar would get into his base, and that probably would have been even more devastating in the long run. So anyway, GG, well played by Much. Nice little 1-gate Dark Templar rush, beating a 2-gate Dark Templar rush and securing him the win.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one last thing to that. Basically, I think that Backho got his observers way too slowly. He actually got a shuttle before he even got an observatory. And I think that was just a bad idea. I think he should have pushed for the observatory as quick as possible, along with other things that I think he could have done. But I think that was probably that sealed the deal, in my opinion. Not to mention the fact that Much got that fast expansion up and running. But the fact that the observers was just so slow. I mean, he had no way to break out, and it almost seemed like he didn't care to. So too bad for him, but definitely a good game, an entertaining one at that. And on to the final match.
And just for a little personal vindication, that is why I say that Backho sucks all the time.
Bam.
All right, GG, time for the final match to see who continues on in the MSL and who is going to go home packing with Backho.